If you're watching this video, make sure your mobile device's battery percentage is above 70% because that is one of the few underrated but most effective tips and tricks to enhance your Bloodstrike gameplay. And these tips are not necessarily applied for Bloodstrike alone, they also apply for other games as well. So be sure to grab a snack, stick around to the end of the video because that is where the best tip is. So starting with number one, as I mentioned earlier, keep your battery percentage above 70% is actually a subjective tip because it depends on your device's battery integrity. Battery integrity, in my own words, is basically how long does it take for your battery to last or how fast does the battery die. That is basically it. But like if your device is a fairly used phone or a newly bought one, yours has a higher battery integrity compared to a phone that dies quickly, you understand, depending, like, no matter how high the battery percentage is. Okay, now, but this is where it actually enhances your gameplay. Based on my research, if a phone's battery percentage is between the range of 80 to 100, sometimes 75 to 100, but going to be using 70 for a wider range of devices, 70 to 100, the device actually has enough energy to spare to give you the most performance out of your device. But if if your device's battery goes below the given range of 70 to 100, it begins to pivot its performance-oriented mindset into power conservation because it has to conserve power to at least continue running what you actually want to do with your device. That's basically it. So be sure to keep a battery above that particular range to at least get the most performance out of your device. And of course, this is why it's never recommended to play games on your device when it's low, because when it's low, your device's mindset is purely on power conservation, and stressing it out to still give you performance is basically just going to frustrate you even more. So be sure to just play games when your battery is relatively high, and at least trust me on this, you're actually going to enjoy the gameplay if your battery is relatively high. Okay, so coming in at number 2, we have refresh rates. Refresh rates, as of recent, is basically how smooth your phone can play animations, or how smooth your phone can play animations. And if your phone can play animations in a smooth way, that means the game can run better. Now this is where the segregation might actually come from, because some devices, especially the old ones, have been capped out at 60 hertz. The default refresh rate for most phones are 60 hertz, but as of recent, you can have phones coming up at 90 hertz, some phones coming up at 120, some of them 144, very few, but they're coming up right now 165 hertz. Those are really crazy phones. My device as of right now is using is basically at 120 hertz refresh rate, or that can move to between 60, 90 and 120. I normally use 120. I like going all out with my gameplay. And yet again, this is one crucial rule that you all should add to the new laws of physics, or new Newton's laws right now. Okay, let me cook right now. The higher the refresh rate, the smoother the animations, the better your gameplay, but yet again, the more power consumption. So that is why the first tip is actually very, very, very useful in all applications of gaming, because your battery is basically what is running everything. It's basically the source of power of your whole device. Okay, so I normally just use my 120 hertz refresh rate and just play my games as much as I can. I try to enjoy it as much as I can. So be sure to check your device's settings for refresh rate. You can cap it out at the maximum. There is a bonus tip towards the end of this video, so be sure to stick around for that. I'll talk about the third tip, which is tuning the graphics quality. The graphics quality actually plays a crucial role. Let me just give you all doesn't just give you all a deep dive into it, because the higher the graphics quality, the more calculations your CPU or GPU actually does to render those complex graphics or animations. So depending on how good your CPU is, if your CPU or GPU aren't capable enough of handling the current setting of graphics quality, be sure to tune that down, please. For the sake of your CPU or GPU. If not, you're going to get more frustrated for looking for higher graphics when you know that you can't actually get it on your current chipset. I ain't dissing you with a low end chipset, but at your current stage, stick with what you have. At least focus more on the frame rate, because like you don't want to be playing, and then your FPS just basically turns into like 10 FPS per second. They'll freaking solo your ass out there, especially if you're playing the battle royale match. So be sure to watch be sure to like know exactly what graphics quality suits your device. Okay, let me now give you a little bit of priority check. If you're like a competitive gamer that isn't like a streamer or content creator like I am, you can just freaking put your graphics quality to lowest and make sure your frame rate is as high as possible. But then for content creators like us that actually like have to show the gameplay for you all to enjoy and watch, you have to put the graphics quality as high as possible and put the frame rate as high as possible, so at least everything will be at the best peak quality. So be sure to just check your priorities right, check your chipset's capabilities. Okay, and for the OGs that stuck around to the end of this video, really appreciate you. Be sure to hit that like button. If you're still watching at this point, you actually deserve to hit that like button, and also subscribe for future videos. Okay, so for my personal tip that actually enhanced my own Bloodstrike gameplay, it actually, to be honest, it depends on your device, but most modern devices must have a game mode. A game mode is like a dedicated, like I call it, category of what your system can actually focus on. Game mode is like your system is going to give you more performance for playing games. So if your device has game mode, mine, most softwares or most devices that support game mode surely have multiple modes. Mine has power saving, equilibrium, and performance. Performance is basically my device not giving a shit about the previous not giving a shit about whatever I just mentioned earlier. It's basically just going to give me the best performance as possible. But here is the drawback: it does give best performance, but again, it's going to drain my battery hell. Like it's going to just drain it like it's drinking water at this point. To be like it's just going to be like pushing through the limits to give me the best possible experience I can actually get on my device. So be sure to like check all your priorities right, like check the game mode settings, just tweak around with it a little bit. Some of your your devices can actually like have capable of a whole lot more, but again your game mode may actually like put in the limitations of the game to just power saving or equilibrium. It depends on what you're doing or what you're using your phone to do. But to be honest, game mode actually saved my ass a lot of times. So be sure to leave a like. Hope this video actually helps you out in any way. And be sure to leave a like and see y'all in the next video.